So if a person says, listen, I'm only a da'i, I'm only a wa'idh, I only admonish people, and I'm going to use stories to admonish people, that person isn't a student of knowledge, and they shouldn't busy themselves with trying to give da'wah. Why? Because sahih, da'wah is good, and it's wajib. فرض كفاية صح؟ طيب لكن وقت البيوت من أبوابها. You can't just say, listen, I'm not going to seek knowledge, like I'm going to give da'wah. That's like saying I'm not going to study medicine, but I'm just going to go to the hospital and cure people here and there. It doesn't go. How are you going to cure people? You haven't even studied medicine. How many people would go to a person they know is not qualified in medicine? Huh? Put your hand up if you would go to them. Person says, listen, I've got 15 years experience, and I've learned through trial and error. When a person breaks his leg, ala tool, I know how to put it back together. Oh, I've been curing this disease for the last 15 years. Where have you studied? Trial and error. First 50 people died, but after that it was okay. Who's going to accept that? No one. That's exactly the same as people that say, well, listen, we're going to give da'wah, like with no knowledge. We're going to give da'wah because we've read a few lectures. We've studied a few lectures and listened to a few lessons here and there. We're going to go give a da'wah. That's haram. Because that's going to lead you to al-qawl ala Allah bighayri ilm. You're going to speak about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with no knowledge. Why do you think the ulama of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah have been seeking knowledge from the beginning of their youthhood up until they get to the age of about 60, 70, up until they pass away? Look at Shaykh Abdul Muhsin Abbad, Allam Abdul Muhsin Abbad, hafidhahullah. How many times has he taught Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud, the Ummahat Sitt? How many times has he taught them Masjid Nawawi? For the last 30, 40, 50 years. Every time he finishes it, he goes back to the same. Haddathana, wa haddathana, wa haddathana, and doesn't get bored of it. That's his luxury. It was said, some of the students of Shaykh Muqbil rahimahullah would narrate that he would say rahimahullah, that as soon as he sits on the chair where he's teaching, and he says, Haddathana Sufyan wa haddathana fulan, that's when his raha, peace and tranquility comes to him. Regardless of all of the problems he may have and issues and so on. Like when he starts to mention Haddathana wa haddathana, that is raha, ma ba'daha raha, that's relaxation for him. That is his hobby. Why would they spend ages? Why would people spend ages in universities? Why would people spend ages in the centers of Ahlul Sunnah all across the world? Why are there different levels to seek knowledge? So that you pass on that knowledge. The Prophet ﷺ said, يَحْمِلُ هَذَا الْعِلْمِ مِنْ كُلِّ خَلَفٍ عُدُولُ. This knowledge will be carried by the just ones from every generation. Carried meaning what? You need to seek it in order to carry it. There's two things. Al-ada', at-tahammul wal-ada'. At-tahammul is when you first seek knowledge. Al-ada' is when you pass that knowledge on. If you haven't done tahammul and you haven't sought the knowledge and you haven't carried the knowledge, can you do ada'? Can you pass it on? Of course not. Go and get 50 million out of your pocket now. Are you able to get 50 million out of your pocket now? No. Because you know it's not in there, sah? Teaching without knowledge is exactly the same. It doesn't matter. You can say, yeah, but these shabab are all listening to this person, or mashallah, this person has guided so much. That's not the criterion here. That is not the criterion here.